4 new alchemy ingredients are coming to the game. Class passives are being reworked, and group buffs in the Elder Scrolls Online will never be the same again. What exactly do all these hybridization changes mean for the future of ESO? Hey everyone, it's Spopes. Seemingly out of nowhere, Zos just dumped this huge amount of information on some of the changes that are coming in Update 51. They're calling all this a continuation of hybridization in the game, though I'm honestly struggling to figure out what this has to do with the infamous hybridization patch of U35. We're going to figure out all the secrets of this new article in the video. I'm going to read the whole article and provide my analysis along the way. Then I'll give my thoughts on these upcoming changes at the end of the video. Before we get into it, please like and hype and make sure you're subbed. And consider upgrading your support with a Spopes Army membership, an official merch purchase, or a donation. This article is titled Mix Things Up as Hybridization Comes to Alchemy, Mundus Stones, and More. And the caption for the opening picture reads, "No need to be limited by your resources, as ESO's hybridization initiative takes new steps in the upcoming Update 51 and Season 1. So far, I've only skimmed this article and I came away very confused. So we are all going to figure this out together, starting now. A while back, ESO began a move toward a hybrid model for characters' primary resources and stats, such as magicka, stamina, armor, offensive penetration, and more. The hybridization changes allowed abilities to scale based on their highest offensive stats, rather than a specific set of resources, increasing overall player flexibility of choice. We also began to provide more sources for these stats together, rather than as individual bonuses, with gear and other build elements providing both magicka and stamina, or weapon damage and spell damage together. However, we could not immediately implement all aspects of this change at the time. My immediate reaction to hearing this is feeling kind of nervous. Update 35 is perhaps the most infamous patch in ESO's history. That's the patch that implemented hybridization, and many players feel like it ruined the game. Now, apparently the full scope of changes they wanted to release at that time could not be released for some undisclosed reason, and so this is basically going to be the follow-up to hybridization. The idea being that it will address some of the problems that did not get fully addressed with that patch, but also associating this new change with U35 is going to put a bad taste in many players' mouths. Continuing on, soon we will progress farther down that road when Season 1's mid-season Update 51 patch launches, currently scheduled for August 31st. I believe this is the first time we've seen a launch date for Update 51. What does all this mean? We're removing or replacing duplicated effects in several areas, and overhauling systems to provide new or streamlined sources for these effects. This streamlining should lower the barrier toward creating effective builds, as well as provide some small performance improvements in combat. This includes work on Mundus Stones, the buff system, and passive skills for the 4 original classes: Dragon Knight, Nightblade, Sorcerer, and Templar. In addition, we're making significant overhauls to Alchemy to cover these effect changes, including 4 additional new reagents to gather. This is the first time in reading this that I've actually been kind of excited. I think we all just kind of like new shiny things, and having new alchemy ingredients to gather is pretty cool. Moving on to the next section, making the Mundus go round. Is it Mundus? Is it Mundus? You guys let me know. I've always called it Mundus, but I'm not sure if that's correct or not. Anyway, making the Mundus go round. When weapon damage and spell damage had separate functions in the game, it made sense for there to be a Mundus stone for each. The Apprentice and Warrior stones provide spell and weapon damage respectively because of this historical context, but their purposes have overlapped since the original hybridization changes. In Update 51, the Warrior Mundus stone increases both forms of damage, while the Apprentice provides a new bonus of increased experience and inspiration gain, making it easy to level up, train crafting skills, and earn champion points while you bear that boon. This is probably going to be a controversial change, but I really like this just based on how it makes sense. The Apprentice being someone who is, learning, it makes sense that that Mundus stone would increase your rate of XP gained. And combining both of the types of damage into the Warrior, I don't really care about that. It might make that Mundus more useful. But yeah, changing anything is always controversial within the community, but I don't have any problem with this, and I think it makes sense. All right, next section, a major and minor consolidation. In a similar example of redundancy, it is currently possible to buff or debuff weapon and spell damage or critical separately through the buff system, which occasionally has unexpected effects. For example, major sorceries increase to spell damage doesn't stack with minor brutalities increased to weapon damage, as you only use the higher value between the two. Where there are currently several pairs of weapon and spell-based effects, these are adjusted in Update 51 to avoid redundancy as follows. Major and minor brutality provide both weapon and spell damage, while major and minor sorcery has been removed. Minor and major savagery provide weapon and spell critical chance, while major and minor prophecy have been removed. There's also a brand new debuff being added from Alchemy called Vexation. This reduces the target's healing done as a counterpart to the mending buff. This is the first time in the article I've been hit in my feels a little bit. I'm kind of sad to say goodbye to major sorcery and prophecy. I think it makes sense to consolidate these, but I'm just gonna miss those names showing up in my buffs. Simple as that. But still, I think this makes sense. Let's continue on. Next section, Alchemy changes brewing. Speaking of alchemy, fixing up crafted potions and poisons was the largest and most complex set of changes involved in the remaining hybridization effort. As this crafting skill revolves around matching multiple ingredients with like traits to create effects, simply consolidating the traits could result in potions having unintended effects. Any alterations have significant implications for alchemy as a whole and need to be done carefully. To make alchemy a system that fully benefits from hybridization, we combine the effects of the increased spell power and increased weapon power reagent traits, as well as those of increased spell critical and increased weapon critical. These have now been consolidated to 2 traits down from 4 to match the changes in the major/minor system they correspond to. We've also added new traits to replace holes created with the consolidation of existing buffs. We've even taken the opportunity to create a few additional ones that provide new benefits not previously available in Alchemy. These new options include traits to increase or reduce healing done through vexation and mending effects, grant damage shields, inflict heal absorption, and increase critical damage done with force buffs. The changes also include removing the lower weapon power trait from existing ingredients, which was used to inflict maim on enemies. This effect is commonly available elsewhere in the game, and very few players used it when crafting. To support these changes, not only have some traits on existing reagents been changed, but we've also added 4 new alchemy ingredients found throughout Tamriel. You can use these new reagents in combination with existing options to create new potions useful for all roles. This is a long section. Here's the next subsection. We've put in work to make sure the changes to alchemy provide minimal disruption to your familiar recipes and strategies. Most existing potion recipes remain unchanged after Update 51, with a minimum of swapping from the previous ingredients to achieve results equivalent to those you got before. Daily crafting writ recipes should be wholly unaffected, while master writs that are being impacted are being updated at the same time as the alchemy changes to ensure seamless usability. Furthermore, any previously earned achievements remain unlocked, although the new effects of ingredients have to be discovered again for those who have yet to complete the relevant achievements. There have even been some important upgrades to potion naming and visual representation that will allow you to more easily recognize a specific potion formulation. As potions are complex items systemically, the game labels them according to a listing of what is considered the highest priority effect provided by the ingredients. Due to the consolidation and introduction of new traits, we've changed the priority of many traits to improve visual communication and differentiate potions further. For example, if a potion provides a heroism buff, it is classified as an essence of heroism over essence of magicka. This makes it easier to identify potions with more unique and valuable effects over basic resource restoration potions. Alright, so there is a lot to unpack here. The first thing that I'm noticing is that maim is being removed from the whole alchemy system. That may end up being controversial. Another standout to me is the introduction of damage shields to alchemy. Having a damage shield potion sounds like a really cool idea. I'm all for that. As I mentioned before, it'll also just be cool to have new alchemy ingredients. And the way that potions will now be labeled based on their most important trait is, I also think, a good change. But a lot is definitely changing here, and we are not even done yet. On to the next section, past the passives. Every class in ESO can be built to provide a buff not easily available as a wider group benefit through any of the other classes' skill lines, such as Warden's ability to grant minor toughness, found in the green balance skill line. However, the 4 original classes only technically fit that model after previous hybridization work, rather than meeting it in spirit. These classes currently focus on the overlapping effects covered above. minor brutality and minor sorcery for Dragon Knight and Templar, and minor savagery and minor prophecy for Nightblade and Sorcerer. This means groups seeking to maximize the effects of their buffs don't get as much from including a Dragon Knight and a Templar together, or both a Nightblade and a Sorcerer. Part of this problem is being addressed in Update 51 by the effect consolidation described above. The update also includes a second set of changes specific to those classes, the creation of 2 unique buffs to replace those removed. Dragon Knights and Nightblades maintain access to minor brutality and minor savagery, which now provide the combined effects mentioned earlier. For Sorcerers, instead of gaining a source of minor prophecy from their dark magic skill line, they now gain the ability to apply a unique offensive penetration buff to their group. Templars likewise gain a unique buff to replace minor sorcery, boosting their group's armor. Honestly, I do feel like this makes a lot of sense and fixes at least some of the problems with hybridization. I'm just curious how the community is going to take this, whether they're going to embrace these changes or be put off. I'm currently trying to decide whether these changes are more finicky or genuinely useful. Hybridization opened up a whole can of worms, and I'm also wondering why it took 16 patches to fix the problems in U35. Why none of this got addressed until Update 51. Also, I'm just not sure if this is the right way to address these problems. It does seem thoughtful and well thought out, but I'll really need to ponder these changes to decide if it makes sense or not. What I'm struck by more than anything is how these changes genuinely seem to be thoughtful. There's a level of cohesive thought here that I don't often see from the combat team. It looks like they spent a lot of time observing these problems and coming up with good ways to fix them. The new buffs in the older classes, the new alchemy reagents, the reorganization of the potion system, it all makes quite a bit of sense to me, and also consolidating the buffs. Probably the most sense-making part to me is how the apprentice now makes you learn better, like an apprentice would. That's definitely on point, well thought through. But yeah, maybe I'm just being paranoid, but something tells me that the community might have a problem with all this. So in the comments, do chime in with your thoughts on these changes. Are they good? Do they fix the problems with hybridization? Are they bad? Is it too little too late? Do let us know what you think here, whether you agree these changes are on point and thoughtful, or whether it seems like random flailing. I know we're all really curious to hear the community reaction here. Please don't hold back with your comments. And also, please remember, I need your support for the channel to thrive. You can start just by liking, hyping, and subscribing. But please also do consider upgrading your support by becoming a member of the Spopes Army. Plans are very affordable and come with great perks. I also do have official merch listed below the video, with a link to the full catalog in the description. You can also leave me a donation on the fourth wall page that link leads you to, or you can leave a donation here on YouTube in the form of super thanks. I'm so grateful for your support, everybody, and I'm even more grateful to the support of my creator. So we're going to finish up as always with a prayer to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Lord, thank you for inspiring the team at ZOS to continue making meaningful changes to the game. Please help these changes outlined in the article be actually good for the game, improve it, and fix long-standing problems. Lord, please do bless my channel and my community. I thank you so much for my community. I ask you to make it grow, and that you bless everyone in it with great experiences at ESO and the world beyond. Lord, I ask you guide me more in your way and along your path and with your wisdom and will, and that you bless all souls across the world, both the living and the dead. I give you all glory for this video and my whole channel, Lord. Lord Christ, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please don't forget to like, hype, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, turn on notifications, because I'll be back soon with new content.